Google Plus launches, an asteroid barely misses Earth, and a Supreme Court decision that affects video games. It's TechLife, your digital lifestyle in 5 minutes. Hi everybody, welcome to TechLife on Tekka TV, your weekly source for digital lifestyle news. I'm your host, Ashley Esqueda, and joining me this week is illustrious tech enthusiast, Mike Hobbs. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Ashley.
Lots of stuff happening in tech this week.
Big tech news.
Yeah, so let's get right into it. Google launched a very interesting new service this week, Google Plus, a social network that's trying to compete with the likes of Twitter and Facebook. Its goal is to actually make sharing online more like sharing in real life. And they're attempting to do that through individual social features as opposed to one catch-all social network.
Two of the interesting features are things called circles and hangout. And circles is sort of a way to group your friends together. So you could have your close friends, acquaintances, and say your workers in another group. So when you send out a message, only those groups see it. It doesn't go out to everyone. So the other thing is Hangouts, which is a group video chat. You can invite up to 10 people.
They're going to have all different kinds of features that are going to be sort of rolled out over the course of a few months. And they also already have an Android app available for it that you can use. But right now you can only get into Google Plus via invite. So you can go to the Google Plus homepage, which we'll have in our show notes, and you can apply to be in Google Plus right now.
An interesting contraption called the Solar Center is doing 3D printing using the sun's rays and the sand of the Saharan desert.
Well, this is crazy. How did this even come about?
Well, it's fascinating. This sand sculptor named Marcus Kaiser built this machine which basically focuses the sun's rays onto this platform of sand, and then you can form 3D shapes in this sand using 3D printing.
And it's pretty incredible. He makes an abstract sculpture that sort of looks like a rock formation, which is really neat. But then the even more interesting thing that he makes is a bowl out of sand. I mean, that's pretty amazing, and it really speaks to sort of the potential for sustainable production. We just have to figure out a way to turn landfills into sand. It could create new things out of garbage.
Mr. Fusion is what you want.
Yeah, that's what I want, a Mr. Fusion. An asteroid discovered just last week very nearly squeaked by Earth, coming 32 times closer to our fair planet than the moon itself.
Chilling.
That's a near miss.
No, as George Carlin would say, that's not a near miss, that's a near hit. You know, this asteroid flew past us at 67,000 miles an hour.
That's really fast.
And came within 7,000 miles of Earth.
That's really close. Usually we hear about asteroids months or even years before we see them anywhere in the vicinity of our planet. And this one gave us a whole week's notice, which is slightly terrifying that nobody noticed it. If there is an asteroid too big and the atmosphere will not burn it up, all you have to do is send a crack team of oil drillers, and they must include Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck, and they will plant a nuclear bomb inside the asteroid, and Earth will be saved.
The U.S. Supreme Court has struck down a California law banning the sale of violent video games to minors, citing it as unconstitutional.
This is a hotly contested piece of legislation.
Indeed it was. The video game industry was obviously very interested in this, and they were concerned that this law was violating their First Amendment rights.
Free speech.
Free speech, but I think it was mostly violating their
sales rights?
their right to sell games.
Basically, the law said absolutely no sale of violent video game to a minor under the age of 17.
You would be fined $1,000, I believe.
Which is quite a bit of money for a $60 game.
Right. In the decision, they deemed that it was unconstitutional to restrict the ideas that a minor may be exposed to.
This now means that the onus of responsibility for choosing what games are appropriate for your child and your family are going to fall on the parent. Definitely check the back of the box before you buy a game that your kid probably wants.
You're right. Don't let the government do that for you. You can do this yourself.
And don't let your kids guilt you into buying scary, violent video games. Don't let their tears fool you.
Yeah, don't fall for it.
Archaeologists in Mexico are learning some amazing things about Mayan culture after using a tiny camera to see inside a Mayan burial chamber that hasn't seen human eyes in over 1,500 years.
Yeah, this is amazing. In fact, they sent a camera down through a 16-foot shaft into this burial chamber, which has not been seen by modern eyes.
It's in the city of Palenque,
right,
which is an ancient city that reached its zenith around 700 AD.
Some of the first things they saw with this camera were red painted walls, black figures of some kind painted on the walls, and also pieces of jade and shell.
I'm sure they'll be able to tell some sort of story with it, maybe find out who's buried in there. They think it might be somebody who was a leader in the city. Who do you think's buried in there?
I think a random person might have just fallen in ages ago.
Somebody just fell into an elaborate burial chamber?
Yeah, and that's like, oh.
Oops, well, he's already in there. We might as well just lock it up.
They'll figure it out later.
Well, everybody, that's all the time we have for Tech Life on Tekka TV. On behalf of everybody here at Tekka, I'm Ashley Esqueda.
I'm Michael J. Hobbs Jr.
And that's been Tech Life. We'll see you next time.